Okay, hi, this is Chad. I'm going to review the next foundation drawing assignment, and that is, it's actually to draw this reference photo in light and shadow on a full page of paper. You want to do it 3 times, and it's due April 19th. Okay, so this is posted so you can see it. Page 2 is this drawing. Okay, so let's get going on it. So one of the first things you want to decide is what orientation do you want your paper, okay? And a lot of that depends on what you're drawing and what you're including in your drawing. What I like to do is kind of hold up my hands in front of my eyes and kind of put a little box around what I'm going to be drawing, okay? This looks more horizontal. I'm going to add this shadow here too. I'm going to complete that. But this looks more horizontal than vertical, right? So I'm going to keep my paper horizontal so it'll fit on the page a little better. And I'm going to suggest you do the same thing. But, okay. Okay. So we want this to fit on this paper. We want it to be, I'm trying to adjust my lights here so you can get a better idea of what's going on. Okay. So this can't just be the same size right here sitting on the paper. We need to consider the entire page. And this is a little, I'm taking you to phase 2, right? Because the apple, we just threw it on somewhere. But this one, we actually want it to fit nicely and consider the edges of the page. What we're going to do is kind of get a feel of what's going on here, of my whole overall layout. And to me, the layout kind of goes in this shape, okay? Now, there's a lot of ways to do this, but this is one way that I've found that kind of fits and works for students pretty nicely. So it's almost straight down, kind of curve up, and then a curve up at the top. I don't want to put this at the very top of the page and the shadow at the very bottom. I want it to fit kind of comfortably on here. So and I'm trying to draw light. I should take this down so it doesn't move. Can you see that okay? Maybe you can, maybe you can't, I don't know. Would it help to have that little lit a bit better? Anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. I might increase it a little bit bigger. And I'll just erase the inside mark. So now I have this, it's basically my very top, very left, very bottom, and very right. And as I look at this, I know my very top is going to be here, my very bottom here, my very left is here, and very right is going to be on this edge. So I may as well just begin some of these things. Now, now this is kind of a process here, trying to get this on the page, and I'm going to try to talk it out best I can, okay? There's a few things to consider. One is, pull my piece of paper out so we can talk about it. One is the negative shapes. So here's my reference. I'm just tracing over it right now. Something like that. So one thing to really look at is your negative shapes, right? So if this is going to be the top here, there's a negative shape that goes basically like this. There's a negative shape down here that goes like that, and then there's a couple other ones, but these two, if I can get those in, I'll be feeling pretty good. Right, so, and I'm not tracing it, I'm just wanted to show that to you because that's important. So, and it's hard to do because you don't, but here's some things to look at. Where's the left? And I'm going to have to erase this. The top, the bottom, the right. Where's the middle of the page? The middle of my composition. I'm going to have a shadow here, and the middle of my composition here. So that's going to be kind of helpful because then I can mark out my my center points. And what I've found is that I'm going to just put some little marks in here. That's this mark right here. I think it's going to go about here. And I want to try to get my angles correct. That's important. And draw very lightly still. Okay. Draw very lightly. Now notice that the corner is away from the center a bit. And as I measure this, the top of this cylinder to here, to this corner, is very close to the same height as this. So that's really good information for me because I basically have that corner here. I know where the top is, so I'm just going to do that. That's going to be the top of my sphere. And then I can start looking for other similarities, right? So if that's the distance here, that's about my distance here. Now, do I have either of those really in place yet? No, it's not this distance. It's not that distance either. No. So I'm trying to look for commonalities. I'm looking for places that will. Now let's see if my bottom of my cylinder's here to there, where else? So it's close again to that. Oh, that's kind of convenient. So I can take this, which is already this may go up a little bit more than I have it. And then I might clean this up as I go a bit. careful on these angles here. You know, it is very quite parallel to this. I'm drawing, that's too big. I'm almost sure of it. So what I'm going to do is kind of flatten that angle out a bit more. That's a little better. So now I need to find out how far do I go over here. And it might, oh, look at that. That same measurement is happening right there. That's crazy. I usually never get that lucky. But thank goodness we do. That's great. Okay. And then what I'm seeing here is this is parallel to this. Parallel means they're the exact same angle, okay? So we want to make sure that we are true to those angles. And I'm also want to be true to this angle too. Make sure that's straightened out, because that is not. Don't want to get that wrong. Now I'm going to stand back and kind of take a good look at this. Is this circle, I mean, is this, yeah, is this sphere circular? That's important for us to find out. And if it's not, we want to make it circular. Now, I also want to map out the shadows here too, right? So, again, like I said on that apple, I like drawing these little squigglies that show this soft shadow. And it's basically going that direction. It looks like now, to me, it feels like this side is kind of the wrong angle. So I'm going to try to adjust that. Now, one thing to do, if you're drawing in life, is to hold out your pencil at whatever you're drawing and grab that angle, right? And then just transfer that right over. I was close last time, but this is hard to see. I think this is a slightly different angle, and it should be from what we've learned. Yeah, slightly different. And I know that's straight up and down. Now, this still doesn't feel like a cube to me. One thing that we can do with our reference that we can't do in real life is rotate it and take a look at things. This is a little long here, so I'm going to cut this back. And it's good to kind of correct. So yeah, mine is, I was not on with that. And I feel like this might be a little off too, but yeah, I need to scale that back, which means at this point, there's not much that I need to erase to get that on. It's just a few lines. However, if it was later in the drawing, that would mean quite a bit of work. Yeah, that's feeling a lot more like a cube to me. Okay, and then to map out the shadow, and now I'm looking at where that's where it changes direction from, that's the shadow off of here, and then this is the shadow off of here. So if I were to draw this little angle right there, that's kind of what I'm after, something like that. And then that will obviously meet up here somewhere. Clean up my reference image. It's going to be important for me. Okay, I feel like this side is too big right now. So again, it's good to continue to evaluate and just see what changes need to be made. Now, one thing I can do here is measure how wide that is and see what else fits that. Oh, no way, no way. Oh, geez, it's crazy. So it's basically a one measuring stick and it just fits everywhere. Oh, it's a lot narrower than I thought. It's even right here. Much narrower than I thought. That is very different. Okay. Now that doesn't look correct. This looks way too narrow here. So I'm struggling with this a little bit, and I hope that's gives you some hope, because it's okay to struggle. It's okay to look and correct. Okay, that is feeling a lot better to me. A lot better. And so some things I'm looking at here are, you see this shape right here? This shape right here, does it look similar? Yeah, it kind of does to me. How does this shape look? Does that look similar? It's close. So I'm super trying to evaluate this, right? Excuse me. So I'm just trying every which way to look at this and try to break down. I really feel like this needs to go up a bit more. Maybe not that much, maybe just a bit, but it does need to go up some. Something like that. Maybe it doesn't give you hope, but maybe it just goes, oh, maybe my teacher's not as good as he thinks he is. maybe that's it, right? But no, it's good to see, for me, it's good to see someone who is, you know, a little bit further on in their career and how they handle these, you know, little few struggles. This finally is feeling a little better to me. Man, that just feels like it's not. It just needs to be a little bit flatter right here. I need to see less of the top of that. You may have a tendency to fast forward this. Please don't. I mean, it's good to good to see how I'm just evaluating all my shapes. Like, is this shape the same as this one? Does that make sense? Now I feel like this needs to go out a little bit. Now that I've flattened that, I feel like this needs to come out just a bit more here. So I'm going to take the time to do that while I'm still working with lines. So once I have my lines down, then I can really and quickly and effectively take care of and it should go kind of fast, actually, once we start laying down value. Now, I wanted to point this out. The light, look how light this is. When I squint, this is still in the light side. It's a little darker than that, but it's definitely shadow, shadow, and shadow, and this is shadow in here. Notice that none of this is as light as that. None of this is as light as that. So this whole side has some value to it. Almost bright white here. So that's what I'm going to be working on and kind of keying off of. Okay, I'm just taking my kneaded eraser and I'm gonna clean up some things here. That's my bright white. This also is my bright white. So what I'm going to do here is just lay down value in these two, just my big values, I think, right? So, and what I could do on this too is if I had my sandpaper, which I don't right now. Just gonna kind of make this use this as my sandpaper to smooth, to knock that corner down. And then I can get some bigger value in here a little bit faster. The problem with me is I drag my fingers across it, but as I squint, I'm trying to make this look the same here. And I am going a little bit dark right now, but I will lighten that up. I will. trying to put a continuous value on things. And I could go in with my finger and just make this less okay, less dark. And that's what happens when you get that finger in there, or a tissue or anything. It just kind of lightens it up a little bit and spreads that value around. Okay. So now I'll now this is a definite edge here. Kind of doing a cross hatching here, not one way, one another way. I need to make sure that this all feels like it is in shadow, but I need to make a smooth transition from here to here. Now, this is a pretty distinct line right here as well. And this is a very smooth transition here. A little bit of dark there on the edge. Very smooth transition between. It gets really pretty dark over here. It's extremely dark in here. And I can lighten some of this up a bit, and this reflected light. But what I am primarily concerned about is that it is in the shadow. And I'll definitely come back to that. Okay. But yeah, this must be in shadow here. Okay. Then this side here is very dark, but not the darkest on the page. The cast shadows end up being the darkest on the page. So just to show you how, you probably know how easily this moves around here, but I just placed my fingers on here to grip the page so it didn't fly around. And yeah, I took off some. Okay, this is coming along nicely. like it. And then this is also a pretty definite edge. Very heavily, very dark right here. And I'm going to blend that shadow out just a bit. I don't see it on my reference, but I have a pretty good feeling that as that shadow gets away from... Okay, so looking pretty good in my opinion. I do want to work on the background a bit, but I'm also going to come in with my eraser and do some drawing with that. So I'm going to kind of clean up. I know this is the really bright white here. Okay. And I know that this also is like very so what I'm doing now is squinting at it. This needs to go darker here. I like this relationship. This relationship is okay. I'm going to pull a little bit out of that shadow, and then kind of following my reference, it has a kind of a deep shadow right there. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, it's working okay. I do want to round this out just a bit more, because it's not... Okay, and this, yeah, I need to take that down a bit. Let's see here. Gonna clean up some edges. Now we don't want to make this like so clinical with these edges. Kind of like the rough feel. Now notice this has a few little lines. I'm going to try to get those in very faint. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, this does have some background to make these white areas pop out. I'm gonna just kind of do some background here, but it's not going to be terribly scribbly, right? I don't want it to take a lot of attention away from my image. My image is primary. And this might have a little too much happening in it right now, so I might just kind of soften that up a little bit, just so it doesn't get ridiculous looking. And that means I could soften this side up too a bit, because yeah, I could just kind of this is looking okay. Let me just get some, and then I'll go in and soften these because this can look kind of crazy and ridiculous here. So I just want to put a little value back there to show how bright the tops of these are, right? And it's looking okay. Let's just clean that little edge up a bit. Now there's different edges here. There's some clean edges, some soft edges, and there's the opportunity to put in some lost edges. So what are lost edges? That's where edges aren't like terribly defined, but your mind goes, I know where that is. I don't have a problem with that. So anyway, let's see. So this might be a good place to put in some a lost edge just along here, because I mean everyone now knows that this thing is straight, right? I mean that this is a cylinder. So here, this is a lost edge. Where else can I put them? I mean, this would probably be considered a lost edge in here just because you don't see it, but we all know it's there, right? We could lose an edge in here, which is basically just kind of blending up. Which essentially is, yeah. Okay. I did want to bring up another bit, and that is if you don't have or like to use like me, these little blending sticks, stumps, you could use these to blend Q-tips. So, yeah, so see how these kind of clean up a little bit and they help blend. And they could almost help even erase at times when they're clean. So you could do some drawing with Q-tips, which is kind of not a terribly normal thing. Make sure that's rounded. Doesn't come to point here. Notice this is a rounded thing. It's not a point. It's there's no point. It's all round. Trying to get that here. Great. So I'm going to call this done. And so this is the idea. We took a big part of the space and this is, you'll do 3 of these. This took me, I don't know, hour or so maybe. And yeah, you'd be sitting in drawing class for about 2.5 hours a week anyway, so you save a little bit of time by doing it on your own. Just try to define that edge a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, cool. All right, so you know what? I should probably blend this out a little bit. It's a little bit rough in here. Yeah, okay. So that's it. That's how we would place this on the page, work out the measure it, make sure it's the right proportions, and then actually execute it. Okay, thanks everyone.